Hello, Internet. I'm taking a look at some more Gunpla today. It's actually made 2-in-1 look at the high-grade Universal Century Victory 2 Gundam and the Victory 2 Assault Buster Gundam. Basically, the Assault Buster Gundam is the Victory 2 Gundam with a bunch of armor on, so by buying the V2 Assault Buster, you get most of what comes with the V2 Gundam. There's kind of one major omission they'll get to, but it's not like a huge deal. So, for those of you not familiar, Victory 2 Gundam is the upgraded mobile suit from Mobile Suit Victory Gundam, go figure. That's a show from 1993 that preceded G Gundam, and kind of not as popular as most Gundam shows. It was made by Yoshiyuki Tomino. From what I've heard, he was a bit depressed at the time. The amount of death and just glum atmosphere in that show would not surprise me if that were true. And from what I've heard, again, this is internet rumor, so do not take me as an actual source for anything, but it is supposedly something he does not look fondly back upon, so it's not something you really see that often. As such, these were the first kits of the V2 to come out since like 1993, not counting SD kits. There's never been a master grade. There weren't any HGUCs before this. It went from the 1/100 and 1/144 scales made while the show was airing to this. Again, aside from like SD kits made for G generation and such, but so yeah, I was eager to get these because I do like the designs quite a bit. So we're gonna get into it. I'll start by looking at just the V Gundam on its own, and then slowly start adding armor pieces. Here is the solo Victory Gundam, sans any type of armoring pieces. And I have to say, it is a nice looking mobile suit. I've always been fond of the design. It is designed by Hajime Katoki, probably most notable for doing the Gundam Wing Endless Waltz redesigns. But he's done tons of mechanical work over both Gundam and other franchises, most notably Virtual On. But he gets his own. They'll do redesigned master grades of just his stuff. You've seen those, and I think his work tends to be beautiful. So I am fond of this design, as I said. Kit-wise, I think it looks pretty good. Once again, I forgot to mention at the start, but I have done nothing to this other than put stickers on it. Same with the Assault Buster. Though in this case, I've had the kit for like half a year, so it's more just laziness. But yeah, the only stickers on here are the eyes and the head sensor, and then the sensors on the gun. And these yellow parts, these are the only notable stickers. So, but yeah, looking at it from the front, you can kind of see the V here, just intentional design choice. The thrusters on the back are probably the most visually distinct thing about it, but the rest of the design is what I call just kind of simple but well designed. Does a lot of rounded edges as opposed to more angular ones, which a lot of Gundams tend to have. But yeah, like I said, overall very nice looking kit. Mostly white and blue, just a bit of yellow, and the red on the feet and the back of the arms. So taking a look at posability, got the head on a ball joint, a double ball joint, in fact. The shoulders, the arm comes off, but it's a model kit, so that's okay because you can just tap it right back on. The shoulders can rotate around, though you will need to move this to one side if you have it out. They can articulate up here, which looks a little odd. But this does let it, doing all the way like this is a little weird. If you have this back down a bit, you get a more kind of natural pose. And there is a ball joint in here, which lets it move around a bit too, back and forward. Got a bicep rotation. You've got an elbow curl that does that much. It's pretty good. In addition to a ball jointed wrist, you do have some movement just right here, just due to the design. So that helps. The body, you've got technically 2 joints, or at least 2 contact points, but this upper one isn't really going to do too much. You got some waist bend, you got waist rotation, a little side-to-side movement. Downside being, if you move it too far, the ball joint's going to pop off. But not, like I said, not a huge deal because it can be easily reassembled. The leg, you're going to have to move this up a bit, but you can go out this far, and go forward this far. Can't really go back because the back skirt doesn't move at all. And I'm going to peg this out. This is a peg into hole style rather than a ball joint, which I think they've been doing this, I think, since 00 for the most part. There's been a few exceptions, but I tend to prefer this style because it gives you a lot more leg movement. Can rotate at the hip here. Got a double jointed, knee. I don't know why I like to call knees elbows. Then in the ankle, you've got a back and forth joint right here. This part will move in and out as you need. A ball joint down at the foot, and then a front toe movement. I don't know why you would possibly need to move this foot this much, but you can. But yeah, good posability all around. One thing I will note is in the show, the V2 can split apart and become a top fighter and a core fighter and a bottom fighter. Similar to the Double Zeta, if you're familiar with that, or even the original Gundam kind of do that, though in that case it was kind of goofy. This kit can't do that. That's more kind of the realm of master grade kits, should they ever do one. Though the master grade Victory Gundam, the first one, did that, and it kind of made the Victory Gundam an unstable mess, from what I understand. But yeah, good posability overall. Design-wise, I have to also point out I love the blue on the knees. It does a lot to help break up what would otherwise be completely white knee. And it's one of my favorite things on this Gundam. Which I know, silly, but there it is. Moving into accessories, the base V2 comes with a beam rifle, and this one actually, this is a removable grenade launcher part, so if you want just as a beam rifle, you can do that. And you have to take off the handguard to fit it in, but otherwise, yeah, it goes in just fine. Then have, of course, a Gundam staple of beam sabers, and I like these, particularly because of this bottom kind of flaring effect down here, if you can see that. I think it's kind of just adds a bit more character to the weapon than just a straight beam, which is what most of them are. I'll also note most Gundam beam saber effect parts are a bit softer than this. This is actually pretty hard plastic, so on one hand it's a lot firmer, and I actually like this a bit better. On the other hand, it's probably a bit more fragile. We'll see how it goes. This one is a little loose, though. In addition to that, you do have this effect part for the beam saber. This is a beam fan or a spreaded beam saber. Victory Gun kind of like to do weird stuff with the beam sabers, but you can have it doing that if you like. And I think this is mostly a holdover from the V1 or the original Victory Gundam. And finally, it has a beam shield effect part, which is this, and this is again in that kind of hard plastic. Now, attaching this is a little weird. Well, I should say attaching isn't weird, just the way it attaches makes for a not very natural shield effect. You lift this piece up, and then this red cap comes off right here, and you just peg it through the middle of the shield. Sorry. Peg it through the middle of the shield, and it is a little tight. And you just peg it back on, and it will hold. It's a little loose, so if you wiggle it around, it'll probably fall out, but just static posing, it's fine. But yeah, to actually have a shielding motion, you kind of have it arm up like this, or do some goofy stuff where the elbow is out just way too far, or have it shielding behind itself. So that's a little weird there. But it is a nice looking effect part, so overall I like it. I just want to zoom in on the head too and show some details. It does have tiny, tiny Vulcans. I have no idea how to paint them other than maybe a toothpick head. But they are there. The back thrusters will move. They will open up like this. And you can pose them as you wish. In series, these were part of the Things Minovsky drive system, which I guess let it be the first mobile suit to actually fly, or something like that. It also created beam wings that kind of spread out and did various stuff, like cutting dudes in half and shielding the mobile suit. And they were an inspiration for Destiny Gundam, if you've ever seen that. There is a set of beam wing effect parts for this kit. I don't have them. I'm not quite sure if they're out, but they were a Bandai website exclusive that I was not able to procure yet. So, but yeah, overall, I think the V2 Gundam is a good kit, especially considering it's like, I think this is about $8. So, if you don't want the one with all the armor parts, this is a pretty cheap pickup. Not counting shipping, of course. Anyway, next, before getting on to the full-on V2 Assault Buster, I am going to split it up and show the V2 Assault and V2 Buster packs separately. So, that will be next. Thanks to the magic of owning two kits, I'm actually able to show off the V2 Assault and V2 Buster separately, which I thought would be helpful because they aren't really intuitive as far as like differentiating them goes. It's not like Strike Gundam, which has flight mode, sword mode, and big gun mode. These two are a bit more, probably realistically military, but yeah, just it's not as intuitive because you say assault, they both have big guns. So anyway, yeah, this one's assault, this one's Buster. I'll just move Buster out of the way to focus on assault first. Assault gets the Mega Beam Rifle and the Mega Beam Shield here. And the other main feature is the gold parts. These are supposed to be like anti-beam coating armor, and there's supposed to be an eye field in here somewhere which blocks beam attacks, which is incredibly useful when everything uses beam weapons, which was mostly true in Victory Gundam. So, the other main addition is this hip armor here. These are supposed to be variable speed beam rifles, much like the Gundam F91 had. On this kit, they are just static hip pieces. I think originally they're supposed to kind of open up. They did not go to the effort to make that happen on this kit, probably just due to the size. That bugs me a little, but not too terribly bad, just because I think if they had tried to make them open up, it would have been fairly fragile. So that's something like if they ever, like 20 years in the future decide to do a real grade V2 Assault Buster, I imagine they would do it there. But yeah, overall, like I said, Assault, I guess, is intended for more like long-term fighting. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure of the different mission roles, but this is what it looks like. Nothing like too different from the back. It's still got the normal attachment for the wings, or the thruster wings. Rifle looks nice, but we'll show it off. Show off the accessories more once we get to full-on Assault Buster mode. But like I said, I just wanted to show them off individually. Moving to the Buster Gundam, V2 Buster Gundam, not to be confused with the Buster Gundam from Gundam Seed. This one is mostly back weaponry. You'll see from the back here, the wing thrusters have been kind of extended and they're attached to these two large back pods. You'll notice there's a bit of armoring here, as well as some on the legs, and the front skirt armors are different. they have these pods. These are all supposed to be missile pods of some kind. Again, I'm going to try to zoom in here and show it, but it wants to show. It's kind of hard to see here, but these are a gray piece, and there's a line in the middle that implies they're supposed to kind of split open, and that's where the missiles would come out of. Again, they didn't mimic this in this. I cannot blame them for it, because doing that at this tiny scale would be well outside the realm of what an HG does. I don't even think a real grade would go for this, though it might go for it as like swappable parts, but as a actual opening functioning thing would be kind of crazy. I will also note on mine, I did the trick of splitting hip armor, which I usually do, and in this case, when in Buster mode, it is a little loose. I don't have this problem when it's fully Assault Buster mode, but just here it's a little loose. There are ways to fix it involving a pin vise and some either thin wire or a paper clip, but I haven't gotten to that effort yet. And I probably won't, just because I'm mostly going to display it in Assault Buster mode. Up here we have a long Mega Cannon or something like High Mega Cannon. I'll put what it actually is on the screen, but Gundam, big Gundam gun. And this is a beam spray pod, which again has the thing where it's supposed to split open, and they again did not mimic it. So, but yeah, this is Buster mode. It's probably the least or the less changed of the two, I guess. I don't know. It's the wing bit is a bit different, but these other parts just seem like armor that would go on top. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to show them off because, again, V Gundam is not a widely known show as it is, and even someone who's kind of a fan of it might look at it and go, "Oh, which one's Buster, which one's Assault?" So I will also note that Buster is a bit back heavy. But yeah, so moving on, we will show off Assault Buster. Okay, so this is V2 Assault Buster. Before I get into this, one quick correction from what I said before. It was the Victory Gundam that was the first one that could just kind of fly on its own. The enemy mobile suits in Victory Gundam had like beam rotors, which let them fly helicopter style. But the Victory Gundam had a Minovsky flight system, which let it just kind of fly, just because. The V2 Minovsky drive system let it hover as it wanted to, which was fairly significant, and also let it move in space without normal rocket propulsion, which apparently made it really, really fast. So I'm just clearing up my fictional physics there before anyone gets angry at me. Anyway, the kit itself, it's pretty kitted out. Also, as I was saying, this actual term for this is Mega Beam Cannon, because Gundam, particularly Universal Century, likes applying the words Mega, Hyper, and Beam to various things. But yeah, Mega Beam Cannon here, Beam Spray Launcher here, missile launchers in the hips and legs, variable speed beam rifles on the side hips, and then the hand-carried rifle and shield, which I'll get into. So V2 Assault Buster is pretty well armed. Overall, it looks good. It's still got the rounded edges. I like the design. Kit-wise, I think this is the kind of wimpy, I like to call it piss gold, that Bandai tends to use when they're not springing for plated parts. Which isn't a huge deal, because if you want, I'm going to paint this, a proper, not shiny gold, but at least, just gold paint eventually. But just out of the box, it's a little bit of a pretty crappy gold. It's not too bad. It's not like Strike Freedom using this gold, where half the stupid kit is that ugly gold. But yeah, overall it looks nice. It's a lot more white, just due to the large side weapons. These look, a bit different. One other thing I forgot to note, compared to the V Gundam, with the Buster, these opening bits on the the back parts, these are much more bulky and have this lower fin part. So I just want to compare that with the two. I should say compare that to the original one. Posability is about the same, head's the same. The shoulders are going to be a little more limited just to bumping into this part, though this will move back a bit should you want it to. Same with the arms are going to be about the same. Hips, you're not going to be able to go out as far thanks to these. Going forward is also going to be a bit more limited due to this catching on this, which causes a chain reaction of it not being able to go up very far. The knees are the same. Like this, aside from not being able to get the actual leg up far enough, the knees are not as like very hindered at all. And then the ankles are just fine. Or I should say the feet. And that popped up. Boop. Like I said, model kit, if anything pops up, you just pop it back on. The wings are on their ball joints back here so they can move around. Each weapon is on a ball joint, and then the back assembly, which there, moves up and down as well. So you do have some posability as far as the back weaponry goes. So if you want to have it like standing by, you can do that. Accessory-wise, get that back in a normal stance. The V2 Assault Buster does still come with the beam rifle, so you could have it holding that if you wished. It does not come with the... It comes with the beam saber handles. It does not come with the beam saber blades or the beam shield effect parts. So if you want those, you have to get the original V Gundam. Or V2, I should say. Or actually, those effect parts are the exact same as the ones on the Victory 1 Gundam, the first mobile suit from that show. So if you have one of those and just don't mind swapping parts around, you can do that. Again, back heavy likes to fall over. And you've got the Mega Beam Shield. I will note every bit of black, every bit of yellow, and every bit of red on this is stickered. The base, it is just white and blue. So the stickers, they hold pretty well, so I'm not too worried about it. Like I don't think I'm gonna bother painting that. And it just slots into here. In the show, each of these three things will pop off and kind of form a giant, like, array of beam shields. I wish there was kind of effect parts for that. That probably would have cost a bit much though, so there is that. And then the stay, because I want to show off your gun. Here's the Mega Beam Rifle, which is a nice, sizable weapon. That is, it's in the show. It's the type of thing where it's like, I think this all collapses. You can't really do that with the kit, unfortunately. But again, this is high grade. I don't really know how they would have engineered that reasonably. But it is held underslung, and it actually holds pretty well. I was afraid like it would just slip out of the hand, but the hand grips it pretty well. So, yeah, I can't tell if it's like attaching to the arm. There's no like clip or anything, but it might just be holding on the arm with a bit of friction, but the hand holds it very nicely. So, yeah, overall, like I said, this one's pretty impressive looking, and it comes with everything the base kit does, save for the beam saber and beam shield effect parts. So if you don't particularly care about those, you just want to have a heavily armored engine of destruction, go for it. Sticker-wise, this is a bit more. The V2 basically only had the eyes and the sensors on the gun for stickers. This has a bit more. Oh, and the piece on the back of these things, which I pointed out. Here you've got the gray on here, here, and here, and here. The blue on the front of the crotch plate and the knees. And then the shield. So a bit more stickers, nothing that is not going to hold very well, and nothing that is particularly ugly in my mind. So I'm fine with the amount of stickers they used on it. I'd say they were pretty good on there. But yeah, it's not nearly as posable, so you can't really do as much with it. But I do like just the sheer amount of weaponry on this thing. So, yeah, there's your look at the Assault Buster. Okay, so in conclusion, one last thing I forgot. They both do come with a core fighter for the V2. I've never been a fan of the V2 core fighter. I think it looks really silly. But if you do, each kit will let you build this should you wish to. Getting into sizes, so to get into size comparison, size matters. The Victory Gundam era was an era of very small mobile suits. This was, I think, in real life due to concerns about plastic costs. Thus, they, in universe, made the kits smaller. Thus, they can make the kits, or I should say, in universe, they made the mobile suits smaller. Thus, they can make the kits smaller. Point being, this thing's pretty short. It's about, I'm going to say 4.5 inches at the head. The back thrusters add another, inch or two. But yeah, it is very tiny, though not as tiny as is his predecessor, 1991's Gundam F91, which is like really short. I think this is the shortest Gundams have gotten. Yes, this is still 1/144th scale. Compared to something more usual, I'll set him off to one side. Here it is next to the Strike Gundam, being the average Gundam 18 meters or so. And then to compare it to something big, here we have it with the Unicorn Gundam in Destroy mode, which is he's from the Shars counterattack era where mobile suits were really big. So yeah, that should be a pretty good comparison of what sizes look like. So in conclusion, yeah, if you like V2, obviously you want to pick up one of these. If you don't like the giant chunks of armor, that's your prerogative. I know people who do not like big bulky things. So that said, I don't think you need to get both unless A, you really want the beam saber parts, or B, you want to display both an assault and a buster. And again, you could just get a V2 because it's like $8 or something before shipping. With shipping, even from Japan, it wouldn't be more than $15, so it's not that expensive. And they're fun, pretty fun builds, and they're pretty nice kits. So until next time, don't stop, carry on, and stand up to the victory.